Hello everybody, my name is DK and welcome back to more RuneScape. So in today's video I want to go check out some fletching. Now fletching is a skill that people have told me makes leveling range a lot more fun because you get to craft your own arrows and they kind of work together in the same way that smithing and mining do, where if you're just leveling ranged it's kind of like leveling smithing without the mining and it's just a little bit less fun. So I don't think there's actually like a fletching trainer. If I look at the map, I wasn't able to find a trainer for fletching specifically. So we go to tutors. There are a lot of different tutors. There's wood cutting. There's like just a lot of different things, but not fletching. Under training as well, I don't think there's anything to do with the skill itself. There isn't really a shopping thing for it either. So I think it's kind of like some of the other ones where it's just really about reading the skill and, just starting to do it. Now, that brings me to an immediate point of feedback that I have for this game, and I'm kind of curious to see if you guys agree with this. I think it would be wise to add some more beginner quests, kind of similar to Cook's Assistant, Doric's Quest, to the Daddy's Home, to Sheep Shearer, those kinds of quests, because I think those really add a lot as to the learning experience to try and get to grips with the skills and learn the skills in a more immersive and more satisfying way than just jumping in without anything to guide you. And I think for stuff like thieving, you could have a bit of a quest where it's literally about a thief, and maybe this quest exists and I just couldn't find it potentially, but I imagine a quest where some thief is like, hey man, I need some stuff and I need like an experienced thief, so go grab me some tea and go grab me some bags of money and go grab me some bakery stuff, and just write like a little silly story around it. Doesn't have to be anything impressive, and slap that on there. Bam, there you go. That's a thieving quest. Now I'm assuming there are thieving quests later on, or at least quests that require thieving, but I think having an introductory quest for thieving specifically could be quite nice. And I think the same thing will also go for the likes of farming. Like farming desperately needs a quest, guys. Farming needs a quest because it is the most convoluted system out of any of the different skills available. And I'm not saying it's difficult. I just think relative to the explanation the other skills are getting, you really need to want to learn how it works before it really clicks. There's like stuff with the different allotments or different types of different types of ground. There is the watering system, there's the compost system, there's the hiring someone to protect your crop system, there's disease. How does disease work? It doesn't really explain in game exactly how it works. So I really think some of those skills could really use a bit of help by adding a beginner quest for them as well. And I don't think they have to be particularly difficult to make, because they can just be a very simple hidden tutorial. I think hidden tutorials are just so incredibly important. Now that brings me to the remaining skills we have. So we have Hunter, we have Fletching, and we have Herbalism. Now Herbalism I've like semi-done, but I've only completed the quest for it. And Herbalism I will continue, or Herblore, sorry, I will continue, but I need to grab some resources for it, which I think I need to unlock through farming first. I'll have to unlock farming, or level farming a little bit. I have to get to herbs, or I have to get to the guam leaves, and then those guam leaves I'll use to create these attack potions, which require guam leaf and Eye of Newt. So that's how I want to set that up. So there's really only two things left. There is Fletching and there is Hunter. Now Hunter also has experience, but that is also from a quest completion or from the Varrock Museum kudos stuff. So really there's only two skills that are like kind of level 1. So today we're covering Fletching, as the title will have probably suggested. Now, Fletching says, fletching allows you to create various ranged weapons as well as ammunition to go with them. Making bows requires bowstring, which can be made from flax at a spinning wheel. You can use a knife on some logs to carve an unfinished bow, then add the bowstring to complete the weapon. To create arrows, you'll first need to carve logs into arrow shafts with a knife, then tip the arrow shafts with feathers. Finally, you'll need to add some arrowheads. And to make bolts, you only need to combine unfinished bolts with feathers. You can also chisel gemstones down into bolt tips, with each gemstone being able to top a different bolt. So I think I just want to start making arrows first, because that sounds most interesting, plus it's the top one on the list here anyway. So 15 arrow shafts requires logs. So what I'll go ahead and do is I will just go ahead and knock down a couple of these trees, fill up my inventory with some logs, then go to the bank. I will grab a knife, and I'm assuming I can use the knife on these logs and then turn them into whatever I need to create the arrow shaft. And I guess maybe it turns into arrow shaft like immediately, but I'm not quite sure. All right, so I have my inventory of logs. I have my knife. Now let me press on the log. What would you like to make? So we can make arrow shafts, javelin shafts, a short bow, a long bow, or a crossbow bolt. Let's make the arrow shafts. Here we go. We are slowly getting some fletching experience by crafting these logs into the arrow shaft. That's nice. Fletching level 2. All right, that brings me up to 405 arrow shafts. Now, if I go back to fletching, to create arrows, you'll first need to carve logs into arrow shafts with a knife. Then tip the arrow shafts with feathers. All right, so what I'll do now is I will bring these with me. I guess I'll just keep the knife on me for now as well. And I will go and murder... Oh, hold on. Let me actually get some proper gear so I can get the best hits possible. I will grab my sword. I will go murder some chickens and I will get some feathers. Actually, I have 839 feathers right here. I guess those were for fishing or something. That is beautiful. So I can just do this and that. And how many sets of 50 do you wish to feather? All. Here we go. Ooh, look at this. Oh, level 3. Oh, we can now make bronze javelins. Wait, this is so much experience. Look at this. Look at it. It's like it's just flying in. Look at this. Oh my god, this bar is just shooting up. Yeah, this is a very satisfying skilled level. At least in the early levels. Level 4. Level 5. You can now make short bows. Oh, cool. And level 6. And that puts us through. We now have 405 headless arrows. So I guess I'll also have to put heads on the shaft. And to make arrowheads. Wait, how do I make arrowheads? Am I being an idiot, or does it not explain anywhere how I can turn these headless arrows into something? Like, it doesn't explain where the bolts come from, does it? Or not the bolts, the tips. So where do I get the tips? They're not under other, are there? No battle staves, hunter spears, there's shields, there's javelins, there's crossbows, there's darts, but it's not darts either, I reckon. I'm assuming those are for like a blowpipe kind of thing. There is bolts, but it's not bolts either because it's tips. Do I need to buy these somewhere? I mean, there's stuff like the archery shop. There is also the crafting shop, but I'm not sure where it would be. I mean, it's a bit weird because the entire process is explained here, except for this part. Am I missing something, guys? Am I being a bit of an idiot right now, or is it not properly explained anywhere in game? Wait, hold on. With smithing, you can make iron arrowheads. And I'm assuming steel arrowheads here as well. Steel crossbow limbs. Oh, you know, I was thinking, okay, so it's metal, so maybe it's something to do with smithing. I completely missed that you can craft them with this. Level 43. I can't craft mithril quite yet, but I can craft some steel. So I guess I'll go craft myself a whole bunch of... Actually, wait, I can't make steel arrows yet, can I? I'm assuming for the fletching, for the arrows, I can make bronze arrows. So I can't make iron arrows yet. So I think even if I have the iron stuff that I need, if I have the iron tips, I probably wouldn't be able to combine them, because like putting them on the bow, putting them on like the wood, I think that wouldn't work. So I need to make bronze arrows, and for bronze arrows I'm going to need some bronze bars, because I need to turn the bronze bars into bronze arrowheads. So what I'll do is I'll go buy some bronze bars to kind of bypass the whole mining process, and then I'll go make these. And for the person who told me I wasn't using the teleport, here we go, we're teleporting back to Varrock once again. Efficiency is now mine. Oh, I first have to go ahead and sell some stuff, I guess, because I just don't have any cash on me. So here we go, cup of tea. And I want to sell all of them. And here we go, I just got 18k. That is very simple. Wait, for some reason the bronze bar isn't unlocked in my bronze man. But I'm sure I've crafted a lot of bronze bars earlier in the series. I have video proof. So I don't know what's going on, but I will quickly go ahead and disable it and I'll buy them anyway. Here we go, back at smithing, guys. I've kind of missed smithing, you know, smithing is just such a beautiful thing. Oh, and you know what else is a beautiful thing? The fact that I forgot the hammer once again. I guess I'll never learn. So we put this in the bank, we get the hammer, which is over here, and now let's go make what we need to make, which in this case is the arrow tips. So we go, arrow tips, and just make all of them. So let's see if these also give me a nice amount of experience. So bronze arrow tips onto the headless arrows. And let's just make 10 of them. Here we go, 19. Oh yeah, even more beautiful experience. Look at this go. There we go. We are skyrocketing up, level 7. There we go. You can make bronze brutal arrows. So how do the brutal arrows work? Because I've seen this before, I think, the brutal stuff. But what exactly is brutal? So if I go over to fletching and arrows and I click brutal, or click the bronze brutal arrows, does it do something? I can't like right click it. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what this does yet, and I guess I'll learn this eventually. But for now, we'll just... Oh, hold on, I didn't mean to click the anvil there. You know, I'm standing next to the anvil, it makes sense that I would click it, okay? Sorry. So we just keep on going, we keep on leveling. I like this skill. It's chill, it's satisfying, and it allows me to create very large amounts of arrows that I can then go spend in combat. I enjoy this. Fletching level 8 and fletching level 9. You can now make bronze/wooden crossbows and bronze crossbow bolts. Alright, there we go. And now we have created 405 bronze arrows, which we could sell for a total of nothing, apparently. Oh, it does show up now. Here we go. It is 2 each, so 810. You know, it's not making up for the money, but we got the experience, and that is what matters. So that means we're halfway to level 10. What I also want to do, of course, is try and make some of the other things, because now we have only just made some arrows. I want to check out the other things as well. So we have bows we can make. So we can make a short bow and almost a long bow. And to make bows, it requires bowstring, which can be made from flax at a spinning wheel. And the logs to carve an unfinished bow, so the same system, and then add the bowstrings to complete the collection or the weapon. But where do I get flax? Can be made from flax at a spinning wheel, but where does one get flax? Is flax something that we farm as well? So flax was not something that I could buy at the store, was it? Because I think the only thing sold there was it silk, I think, that we got for Dragon Slayer? Oh, wait. How do you know I killed it? Wait, this is about the demon. I was just skipping through the dialogue because I thought it was like something I'd already seen many times before. But how do you know I killed it? You forget, I'm good at knowing things. Cool, but I don't want to talk to it. Oh wait, hold on. This is the wrong guy. I need to be in this shop. Whoopsie. So does Tesselia sell me what I need? Do you sell flax? You don't sell flax. Where do I get flax? Where do I gather flax? Oh, I can look flax up on the map. And apparently there is flax over here at the Seers village. So I'll have to do a little bit of running. I don't think I have an easy teleport for that. But I can go here, and there is a bank here as well. I guess I will prepare some of the stuff I need for it before I go there. So we can have some stuff ready to go, so I can just combine the flax very easily over there. So I did prepare myself some more logs, so we can take these. And then we grab the knife again. And now I think we use the knife on the logs, but instead of making the arrow shafts, we make the short bow things, whatever they were called. Like, yeah, it's a short bow U. I don't know what the U is supposed to mean really, but sure, we're making a lot of them. I guess the only downside is that they are not stacking into a single spot, so it's going to take a little bit more time, you know, running back and forth to a bank and combining all of them, but I reckon we should be good. I have no idea if the flax is a stacking thing either, so I guess we'll see that. Level 10. You can now make longbows. Wait, do longbows require the same the same stuff. I'm assuming they do, right? Yeah, it just says requires bowstring. So I'm assuming you can make both. So what I'll do is I'll also make a bunch of the longbow. The other one gave me 5 experience, these give me 10 experience, and they cost the same. So they might cost me something else I'm not sure about, but in terms of experience efficiency, it's probably best to just grab this. And fletching level 11. You can now make opal-tipped bronze bolts. We haven't made bronze bolts either, so I'm not sure if I'm going to make that on this video, but maybe I will. And fletching level 12. So I've been talking to some people in my clan, and they noticed that I was level 10 fletching, so they, asked me, hey, are you woodcutting as well? And they are now telling me that I should really go check out some guy by the fire in Draenor, because I can buy some sort of backpack. Now, obviously, I forgot to bring gold, but there's a bank there also, so it's completely fine. I like how I just like turned around twice because like my brain was like processing, is there a bank? Is there a bank? Yes, there is a bank. Okay, great. So we're gonna go there. We're gonna check out whatever this backpack is because it does sound quite nice. So these are the kind of things, guys, that I don't mind being spoiled a little bit. Like, if you have like a little tip, like, hey, you should really go and check out this cool item in this store somewhere over, like in this place that you otherwise, might not check out, then definitely, feel free to let me know. I don't want to get big spoilers, like, like optimal guides to do stuff or like big quest reveals, those kind of things. But just like little nudges here and there, I'm totally fine with that. It kind of makes me enjoy my journey a little bit more as well, I guess. Right, we almost made it all the way here running. And that was all the way from the rock. So I guess we're getting better at it. Okay, so a man by fire in Draenor. Now, where there's a... No, that's not a fire, that's a tree, I think that's... Oh, friendly forester. This guy. Welcome to the forestry shop. This reminds me of the NPC that was at Lumbridge, near the graveyard. I remember a similar interface popping up. So, feel free to peruse our stock. This panel will show further information about an item when selected from the left-hand menu. Once selected, you may then choose to purchase the item using the buttons below. You may also use the options menu to purchase multiples of an item. So, forestry kit, Sakato's blade, ritual mulch, log brace, clothes pouch blueprint, cape pouch, log basket. Wait, can we bring more things? So noted things, noted oak logs, noted willow logs. The log basket allows you to carry more logs. When opened, logs will automatically be deposited into it. The log basket can be combined with a forestry kit to make a single equipable item when used with the sturdy hardness. This sounds so nice. So an axe, lumberjack gear, which I'm assuming gives you, gives you bonus stats, like bonus experience apparently, and a bit of a bonus in the woodcutting skill. Lumberjack top. Oh, so much cool stuff here. I'm loving this. But what is the price? Where do I see the price? Oh, the cost. Here we go. So the cost is anima bark. I'll have to see how I get anima bark, but I love the idea of farming some of this stuff. I like the idea of getting these skill armor sets, like boosting my armor set, or like boosting my ability to be in a certain skill by getting this armor set. I really like the idea of that, and I think there's armor sets for a lot of the skills, which is super cool to me. So I'm assuming they mean the forestry kit, right? So this equipable kit bag holds many items commonly used or found while woodcutting. There are 2 modifications available for it. A log basket and sturdy harness will allow it to hold logs. The clothes pouch allows it to store your lumberjack outfits. You can have it on you. And this is even free. Buy 1. Here we go. And these all require anima bark. And I guess bark is something you start getting once you have this thing equipped, maybe? So... Oh, this is your forestry kit. You can use this kit to store your forestry items. This panel will show further information about an item when selected from the left-hand menu. Once selected, you may then choose to withdraw the item using the buttons below. I quite like this because I was honestly a bit scared that these skill videos were going to be a little bit bare bones, because it would just be like me leveling a little bit, saying like, hey, couple level ups and be done in like 15 minutes. And I don't want the videos to be that short. I'd like to provide at least 20 minutes, preferably 30 minutes plus, but I don't want to like pad the number either. So I'm always hoping there's something that I can cover that, very much close to what I'm doing. And I think this forestry stuff is like an extension of the woodcutting stuff, which then ties in really nicely now that I'm starting to level fletching as well. So this is beautiful. So once selected, you may then choose to withdraw the item using the buttons below. So enema infused bark. This bark has been magically infused with enema and is sought after by foresters. It is found during forestry events and is commonly used as a currency to buy other woodcutting related gear from a forestry shop. There's rations, nature offerings, different kinds of leaves. So is this stuff that I will get as long as I have this thing equipped or like in my inventory? But do I need to be actually doing the forestry stuff, or is it sufficient to be woodcutting like normally as well? I'm assuming I have to do some forestry stuff, right? And I've learned there are worlds specifically for forestry, I think, which means that I think those are the people I saw standing around a single tree and just going completely hammered at one tree. I think that is what was happening. So I will quickly go and see if I can find a group for that, and we can go check out that system. Alright, I found a forestry world. Now, are there just going to be people around the forestry guy? Or will I have to find them? So how do I find people? Do I need to go to the chat channel? Join? No. Do I go to grouping? And then I select an activity. And I search for forestry. Okay, I guess forestry isn't an activity in that sense. Alright, so from my limited understanding here, I've just been told that I just cut down trees here, and there's other people cutting down trees here around me as well. And some random events are going to pop up, which sound quite similar to the way Guild Wars 2 does its dynamic event system. And then I will be able to participate in that and get additional woodcutting rewards, which I think also then tie into the forestry reward system of like the additional perks and stuff. So I'll just be cutting trees here for a bit and see if something pops up. Oh, some willow leaves fall to the ground and you place them into your forestry kit. A woodcutting leprechaun? Grand job, what an obnoxious tree, spreading rumors about other trees and sucking up all the water. As a reward, I'll let you use me full banking services. So open deposit box or deposit all? Bank all the items in your inventory. Only bank woodcutting resources. There we go. That is beautiful. And now if I click this thing, I am assuming that I have... Yes, a pile of willow tree leaves collected while cutting and farming willow trees, used for creating compost and crafting foresters' rations. So I could craft these, and I guess that kind of stuff I can then maybe do back at this guy. Wait, so I can press empty as well. What does empty do? Okay, it brings them into my inventory. And does that mean that I can now spend them in some capacity? So this stuff all requires anima bark, which I'm assuming I acquire in a similar way. Wow, the forestry top requires so many different things. All different kinds of noted logs and stuff. I guess I would like to go for the log basket at some point. I think that sounds really nice to have, but I need oak logs and willow logs and anima bark. Okay, so I want to put this... Can I put this back in here like so? I can. Okay, great. Woodcutting level 36 as well. I would get myself a better axe, but I think I'll just wait till 41 and see if I can find myself a rune axe just to have like the biggest jump possible. It's only 5 more levels, so it's not too bad. Oh, some more willow leaves fall into our forestry kit. Oh, that was 4 actually. Okay. You know, I think I'm gonna like farming this stuff because it gives me an additional thing that I'm looking for besides just filling my inventory, and it's RNG, so you don't really know how much you're going to get. You know, I'm really starting to appreciate these systems more and more because the more I unlock the member side of the skills I already had, the more I feel like there's just so much more to them than I could have appreciated playing the free-to-play world. But I'm happy that I got that experience, that limited experience before, because I think having all these systems immediately would have been a bit overwhelming. But because I now have this baseline knowledge of these skills, and now I get to expand on it with the member stuff, I honestly think this is the way. If you want to get someone into a game, you know, if you're looking at this and you're like, hey, I would like to get X friend, or I would like to get my girlfriend or my boyfriend or whoever into the game, and they are not a super seasoned RuneScape player or even a seasoned gamer in the first place, I really think the best way to do this is section it off, have them play through free-to-play first. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to go all the way like I did, like complete everything, but spend at least like 20, 30, 40 hours or something, really get into grips with the basic crafting systems, and only then give them member. I think if you give member to people immediately, it's going to become overwhelming. It's going to push people away, especially if they're not people who like to really figure things out themselves. And I think this is actually a problem that is very prevalent in the bigger gaming sphere. I feel like a lot of games try to completely front load everything, like trying to show you so many systems at the same time. And I think the reason for that is that back in the day, you used to have to just buy a game, and after buying a game, the game didn't have to grab you. The game was allowed to be a bit slower, because what happened is you bought the game, people didn't have games as a live service all the time everywhere. So this means that after they got your 60 euros or whatever that you used to buy the game, you know, they had your money. They didn't need to convince you anymore. They only had to hope that you liked the game in the end and that you would buy the inevitable next game they made, which generally was considered to be like a sequel or something. But nowadays, you know, you often don't pay for a game, or you pay a very little amount for the game, because most of the business model is actually on the back end of the process, where, you know, it's microtransactions, it is subscription fees, it is all kinds of systems that are outside the purchase. So I think nowadays games try and front load their best stuff really early on, because they are like, dude, like, we have to, like, this player needs to be grabbed, this player needs to be completely, you know, immersed in our game within the first 5 minutes, because if we don't get this player within the first 5 minutes, we will most likely create a quit moment and we will lose this player forever. And that means that there's going to be no microtransactions to get from this player, which is what the entire business model is built around. And I think a lot of games do that, but what often happens if you try and do that with a more complicated game is that you make the learning experience so difficult that people then no longer are able to learn at a proper pace. And another thing that also happens is that people will bring their friends into a game, they will understand the game very well, and they'll be like, yeah, but this is, you know, this is super straightforward, right? This is simple, right? You understand what's going on, right? But you have to imagine that, you know, not everyone knows what you know, so you have to bring people into a game very slowly, you have to let them learn at their own pace. You know, I brought multiple friends into MMOs, specifically into Guild Wars 2, and a lot of people seem to overwhelm people. They're like, okay, you know, you go do this, we're gonna do dungeons, we're gonna do fractals, we're gonna, you know, do these bosses and stuff. And yeah, it's cool. You can show them those kind of things. Really, you can show them those kind of things. But I think the most important thing is let someone loose into the world, let them just play for a couple hours on their own, let them ask you questions, and then you answer those questions. And if at some point you're like, hey, you know, you've experienced the game for a little bit, would you like to see a world boss? Show them a world boss. Really cool. But if you hop into a game and you just turn it into a, hey, let me show you all these cool things, but the player itself, you know, isn't figuring out anything, that wouldn't grab me. And I'm not sure why I went on this large tangent, but, you know, I think the RuneScape has done this fairly well. The explanations in-game could sometimes use a little bit of polish. They're not bad, just a bit of polish. But I think the process that I went through has given me the best possible RuneScape experience, and this is really what I would recommend anyone who's interested in a game doing. It is take it slow, build up the fundamentals, and then build on top of those fundamentals with more advanced knowledge. Also, just look at this beauty, guys. There are so many people online in my clan right now. There's people chatting in my clan. It's such an amazing experience to be running this clan. Even though we're only 12 official members, there's pretty much always people online. We're all from different time zones and stuff, but still the chat's always great. And very quick shout out is I'm really liking how because I have a bit of a slower approach to my games, you know, this isn't a flashy channel, this is not a dopamine hit every second kind of channel. I feel like I'm cultivating a bit of a community that is more grown up, I guess, in a way. There are no people in here like spamming lol xddddd, those kind of things. And I'm really enjoying the fact that we have actual intellectual things going on in the chat most of the time. I think the fact that people are understanding and people are intelligent and people have the ability to communicate outside of Oh my god, you bet. Like, it's a blessing. Like, I've experienced so many terrible MMO communities, so many terrible game communities. You know, I'm a League of Legends player, so I'm very well aware of a terrible community, and I'm loving this, guy. So thank you for being like-minded people. I'm really enjoying it. So I've been grabbing these willow logs because I was curious. If I use my knife, hold on, let me remove one. If I use my knife, it says I can't make the bows yet, but can I make the earlier thing? Can I make the arrow shafts, for example? Let's see, can I make the arrow shafts? Oh, no, okay, so you need a fletching level of 30 to make arrow shafts from willow logs. Okay, I wasn't entirely sure how that was going to work, so, you know, we can put those back away. We can always grab these later, like, I'll have a bit of them bunched up right now. I can, of course, go ahead and grab these normal logs, and we can make a couple more of these. I haven't experienced any of the events yet, and I will return here and I will talk about when I do explore those events. But I really want to continue the fletching part, so I will go ahead and head over to the flex farming area. All right, let's use this beautiful ability to travel under the mountain. Now, I could have probably gone back to the rock and then teleported to the gnome stronghold and then walked back up, and maybe that would have been shorter. I'm not quite sure. But for now, I think this works quite well. I'm also doing a fairly fun thing to me. So I used to listen to this podcast. It's a YouTube podcast called Visual Wood. And no, it is not about gay porn, as the name would suggest, as they talked about in their first video. It's a guy called Matt Visual and Wooden Potatoes, two content creators that I followed for a while, especially Wooden Potatoes. I think I mentioned it before on the channel. They had this podcast back in like 2013-ish, I think. And it was a lot about, well, initially it started off as a podcast. It was mostly about Guild Wars 2, you know, what they were expecting in upcoming content, what their predictions were for, well, really any future development of the game. And like at some point, I think it really devolved way more into viewer questions and other like kinds of topics where it like went way more away from Guild Wars 2. But I'm listening to the podcast right now. It's quite fun to be listening to it while skilling. They're like hour and a half, 2 hour long part, so it's quite long as well. And first of all, it brings me a ton of nostalgia, like listening to those conversations that I listened to as they were coming out like 11 years ago or 12 years ago or something. That was really, really fun. But also it's extremely interesting that now I'm listening to this and I'm hearing them talk about like, you know, what was currently going on at that time, like what content was being released, but also what their predictions were for upcoming content, what they thought the philosophy behind certain things were. And honestly, I'm having a ton of fun just kind of listening to it and seeing like, hey, this became a reality. This prediction was completely wrong. Ha! You really thought that kind of stuff? Like this is really fun to me, and I'm curious. Do you guys have any other like podcasts or any other like super old content that you go back to, because you're really curious to see if the things they said all those years ago were actually correct? Like to me, this is super fun. Like they're talking about the Oculus Rift, which I have in my closet actually right behind me. I do have an Oculus Rift, like the original one. And they're talking about how, you know, they had like a dev version of it and stuff. And what is this? Achievement diary stage task, currently stage 3. Okay, cool. I'll just grab a whole bunch of these flexes. I'll fill up like a couple inventories probably. But yeah, it is really funny to just listen to all this stuff, you know, talking about packs and, you know, what kind of games were there. Like, you know, it's funny because they mention games like, oh, this like super cool upcoming game. And meanwhile, in my mind, I'm like, well, the game's like 10 years old at this point. But it's fun because they're talking about it like an upcoming game. And yeah, it's a lot of nostalgia to me. It's really great. Also, what can this flex keeper tell me about the flex? Hello, I'm the flex keeper. I tend to the flex fields, keeping the yield and continued flex harvest healthy. Ooh, great work. Thank you. I must get back to work. You never know when a great flex harvest will begin. Alright, well, I'll just harvest some flex then. See you guys in a moment. Back to the podcast. Fortunately, the bank is very close. So what I'll do is I will deposit 14 of these. Oh wait, don't I need to turn these into a thread or something and a spinning wheel? Hold on. Oh, there's a spinning wheel right here. Wait, this is beautiful. I was expecting to have to walk all the way back to the Lumbridge or something like that, but no, there's one right over in... What is going on over there? What are these? This is a temple with a lot of like little things in front of it, like little things on the floor. I don't know exactly what I'm looking at right now, but I will check it out later. But there is a spinning wheel in... Is it this house? Oh, I can climb up the ladder, and I guess the spinning wheel... Yeah, the spinning wheel is here. So I still have the half inventory here only, so that's a bit unfortunate. But I guess I can turn this into wool. I can turn it into... Okay, let's do bowstrings. So are they one-to-one bowstring conversions? They are one-to-one bowstring conversions, and they're taking up singular slots. Okay, you know, I'll try and go through the entire process of making a couple bows, and then after that is done, you know, then I can go ahead and I can make many more of them, and I can just do that kind of off screen. But I do want to go through the process of making them first. So here we go. That is a whole bunch of bowstrings. I guess we could also make crossbow strings, but I'm expecting, from what I can tell, that it's the exact same thing. Wait, you need permission before you can climb these ladders. Oh, I thought it was going to go down, but apparently we can't go up these ladders yet. We need some permission from some NPC. Okay, sure. Anyway, let me head back over to the bank. And then we can also grab 14 bows. So I will first grab 14 short bows. Here we go. And then we can combine the bowstrings and the short bows. And we can make a whole bunch of actual short bows. Let's see, they only give us 5 experience each. So it seems as though the bow part isn't that great experience. It seems as though a lot of the experience comes from the arrow part. Now, obviously, it's based on very limited information. But it does seem like it's easier to make arrows also because of the inventory clutter aspect, where there's a lot less manual input with arrows than there is with bows, I think. So it was 5 per short bow. Now let me make some more strings, and let's try with the long bow as well and see if that's more than 5. All right, so here we go. Now we grab the long bows. And did they give me more than 5? Did they give me 10 or something? They give me 10. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I guess I wasn't entirely correct in that sense. It's still fairly quick if you just make the best bow you can possibly make. Level 13 fletching right now, beautiful. Alright, so I think we've seen pretty much everything here. There is still the bolt making process, but it says you only need to combine unfinished bolts, which we can just make with the wood, right? I think that was an option, the bolts, and add feathers to them. And then you can also chisel gemstones down into bolt tips, which is something that I can probably do here. Because I see opal tipped, bluerite bolt after night sword, which we do have, jade tipped, cabot tipped, iron bolts. There's a lot of different things we can do, but that is much more advanced. But yeah, I think we've seen roughly how the system works, and once again, probably one of the systems that I will enjoy grinding a bit and spending some time with while I'm not recording. All right, so I guess that wraps up this video. It was a fairly simple video in terms of what we did, but I feel like I rambled my way through the video quite well, in the sense that we got a fairly long video out of it, and I had a ton of fun exploring the system. So now, really, the only thing left to check out is going to be Hunter. I have no idea what Hunter is like, really. I haven't really looked into it at all yet, and I will do that very soon. Now, I'm not sure if we'll have a skilling episode again next time, because I kind of like the idea of not just skilling. I kind of like the idea of also having a bit of questing in there again, because we haven't quested in just a little bit. So I'll see what I do next time. I'm gonna need a break right now, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again in 2 days. Bye bye. Actually, it could be 3 days if I have to change my upload schedule. Just saying.